We left Tbilisi this morning. Our destination is Yerevan in Armenia. We plan to arrive in the afternoon. We will stop to see a couple of churches. The first step is obviously the border, which shouldn't be far.
The roads in Armenia are not as good as in Georgia, actually. We're not just in a tunnel, and it's quite tough.
We're going south to Yerevan, and we are stopping along the way to visit some of the beautiful monasteries. This one here is the one of Akpat, and it's a beautiful monastery complex that dominates the Debet Canyon, which is behind us and which we are going through by car. This one is the monastery of Strenght, which is not far from the industrial town of Lowry.
We went through Lowry, which is a town pretty much kind of like dominated by this massive abandoned industry from the Russian time. But the city is still at the bottom of the industry, so it's a bit of a very kind of like shocking. We are in Yerevan, capital of Armenia, and we're gonna spend here 4 days.
The Yerevan that we can see today has been built mostly in the 19th and 20th century by the Russian and the Soviet. They built the city pretty much in square with large boulevard and blocks, and each block is essentially like a small town. If you go inside through these arches, you will find like little villages, community parks, and everything, and the life is sparkling. To get inside, you need to pass through these arches, which in more recent times has been all painted with a little bit of street art, graffiti, and paintings to embellish them.
The city itself is about 25 kilometers in diameter. It's a big city, but the population is just 1 million. Population is not that much.
Once we got to Yerevan, we actually managed to meet a very old schoolmate of mine, Narek, who is originally Armenian. He gave us his view of what is Armenia now and what it could be in the future.
You guys came here to Armenia for the first time. Hope you're enjoying it. Welcome to Armenia. I'm living in Armenia right now, but I'm new to Armenia. I was born in France, I grew up in Italy, and then I moved to Canada when I was 25 years old. For me, every part of me, or every part of culture that I absorbed over the years is an important part of me. And now I'm here. I'm here in the so-called New Armenia. It's called New Armenia because we just had a revolution. Not many people know about it. It's called this Velvet Revolution because it happened very peacefully. I moved here in a very exciting time because right now Armenia is going through some major changes, and all the pervasive corruption that was here, that was the main feature of this country, apparently is slowly dismantling somehow. And a great need to redesign, reshape our own values as what it means to be Armenian nowadays. Change will be slow, it's normal, but it's happening. So right now in Yerevan, there's a lot of energy, good energy. Very happy that at this point in my life I'm here.
In Yerevan, I was really impressed by the cascade, which is like an immense staircase over a hill, overlooking the entire city. You can watch beautiful sunset from there. It is an art center, and there is a lot of art, both inside and outside. And I love it because it is a very lively place, very enjoyable, and very romantic as well. 15th of July, we are enjoying the final of the World Cup. It's France against Croatia.
Yerevan, very interesting. A country landlocked. You wouldn't expect a city in the middle of nowhere, basically, to be so lively. Actually, people to enjoy life so much. It really comes alive at night and evening. They eat late, they go out, you will see people around. It's quite interesting.
Armenia has two main assets that we offer to tourism. One is the amazing monasteries that are dating back thousands of years, and the second one is the incredible landscape. This is the monastery of Yerevan, which is one of the very famous in the central part of Armenia. But the most amazing thing here is probably the setting, the landscape, which is absolutely astonishing.
Here we have a classical Armenian kachka. It's a carved cross in a stone and usually is posed above a sun that represents eternity.
The Armenian church is one of the Orthodox churches, but it's totally on its own. We were the first Christian nation. They adopted Christianity 10 years before Rome did. So it was 303 instead of 313.
The monastery behind me is the monastery of Virap, which is probably one of the most pictured. The reason is because behind it you can see the Mount Ararat. Actually, right now it's difficult to see because it's cloudy. The border between Armenia and Turkey is just a few kilometers far away. Historically, it's a very important mountain for the Armenian because the region across the border was historically inhabited by Armenians.
Armenians have been spread throughout the world for centuries. The formal Armenia, but it's just a tiny part of the actual historic lands where Armenians used to live.
So we're on our way to Lake Sevan and we just found the caravanserai, which actually reminded us that we're on the Silk Road. And if you look at it, it is actually a closed caravanserai because it's a mountain pass, so it was actually quite cold over here.
We are at the Lake Sevan, one of the highest lakes in the world. We are at the 2,000 meters above the sea level.
During one of the visits of one of the many monasteries that we've seen, we met Giorgio, who is a half Italian, half Georgian guy, who gave us like a beautiful understanding of the Armenian monasteries.
Hello, I'm Giorgio. I'm a student of the University of Engineering Architecture of Trento in Italy. I'm fond of Caucasian churches and monasteries and medieval architecture. This is one of my favorite places, is Harichavank Monastery in the region of Shirak near Gyumri. It has two elements that are very interesting. One is the dome, the umbrella dome, and another one is the gavit, this part of structure before the church. These gavit often were added to the church later, and they take inspired from the concept of the countryside traditional Armenian house, in which there is a hole with a dome, a wooden dome with a hole for make the smoke of the fire go out. It's the typical architectural element of the countryside architecture. Inside you will see a strong influence of the Middle Eastern art, influence that is possible to see also here with the arch of the door in typical Arabic style.
We were just passing by, we saw this man selling like watermelon. We thought like, why not try one of those? Because it's really hot and this is actually very nice.
We are at the Gagarat Monastery, 40 kilometers out of Yerevan. It was built in the 4th century.
So we just arrived in Garni, which is not a church, it's not a monastery, but it's a proper pagan temple. It's quite unique because it was built roughly 2,000 years ago.
For most of the time, we're the only Christian nation surrounded by a Muslim nation, for instance. And this is also what I think helped preserve their culture around two values. One of them being the language, church was the other one. Another values of Armenians being we're Armenian, we're not many people, and we should just preserve ourselves and strengthen ourselves by staying together.